how do I make an offer on a property? So I kind of want to give you guys some inside tips on something that I do personally in my career, in my investing career, more often than for clients, because a lot of clients, sometimes I know they have their own methods, and I have to respect what they're doing and what they want to do with their properties. So for this particular example, I'm going to use an office building. So let's say I found an office building, maybe someone turned me on to an office building, or whatever reason, I'm looking at an office building and it's small. Let's say it's 5,000 square feet, and I kind of want to get my hands around this thing. So one thing I always do is, before anything, you always want to send an LOI. Everybody knows that. And if you've been following my work, I tell you exactly how to put an LOI together, and I tell you why it's important to use an LOI every single time. And after I've submitted the LOI, depending on what comes of that, is there a counter? Do they agree to most of the terms? There's almost always a counter of some kind, right? It's not very often they're going to say, okay, we take all of your terms, unless you're paying all cash. That usually doesn't happen. All my offers have owner financing. Every single one, even if I have the money, I always ask for owner financing every single time. And the reason for that is, well, a couple things. Number one, you never know if that seller is even open to it. And number two, it can definitely help you in the long run. So if the property is $500,000 and I want to 20% down, let's say I have a bank financing loan of $400,000, right? If I have $100,000 laying around, I'll still ask for 5%. I'll still ask for a little bit of money from the seller, right? I might get it. Sometimes I'll ask for 15%. I might only get 5%. I might only get 10%, but it's still something. It's still cash I did not need to come out of pocket for. Now, there's a couple things I can do. With cash in my pocket, I can get in there, I can turn this property around quicker, right? And that frees up a lot more cash, a lot more opportunities. And I can always cash him out in the refi, or depending on how we structure the deal, when I sell the property. Now, that's one thing I would tell everybody to do. And a lot of my investors, I can't make them do anything. I can only advise, right? So what I would mention, ask for owner financing every single time. And your broker should actually do this for you, because that's less cash for you to come out of pocket. Now, if we're talking about value add, that's what I'm referring to. If you're talking about you're buying a Class A property, like a Wendy's, and you just want to let it coast, well, that's something different. In that case, you probably just need to park your cash and looking at it a different way. If you're trying to do a value add opportunity, you always want to ask for owner financing. You always want to stretch out the terms any way you can. So that's number one. So I do the LOI, I always ask for owner financing, and you always got to ask for your title company. Try to get your title company in there. And the biggest reason for this is I found out a lot of times the title company of the opposing party, they're going to just pack the fat and screw you and charge you for all kinds of things that just, it doesn't even make sense after a while. I really don't like that, unfortunately. And I've real bad taste in my mouth. I'll almost demand I get my title company in there. Now, does it always happen? No, but you got to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you're not getting it for sure. So after that happens, you make sure you ask for some seller repairs, seller credits, and you get those in a form for credit. Now, most of those things are always in my offer that I always make. They are the LOI has all that stuff, right? The LOI outlines that I want owner financing, I want to have my title company in the deal, and I want to have this much credit. Now, if you follow my process before that I've talked about, you never ask for any dollar amount of owner financing until you've done the inspection. Because if you ask for 100 grand and they give it to you, and then you find out you need 200 grand, it's very, very tough. So I learned this the hard way. The reason I'm telling you that is, in the LOI, let them know one of two things. Number one, you're paying for property that you assume is in good condition. If things come back, you will request for some of the repairs, the owner participate in those repairs. And that's what I mean by that. Do not put any dollar amount or anything like that. We definitely don't want to do that. And then finally, I like to close beginning of the month. I like to close beginning of the month because I can keep the rents and I don't have too many bills to worry about. And what I found out is if you close on the 20th or the 25th, you almost never get the rent credits. You always get the bills, right? Because the power turns over or whatever the case is. So hope that was helpful, but that's my process and that's kind of what I look for in every single deal I do. All right, like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave me comments, questions, let me know. I love answering them all. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it.